Today I'm canning purple hull peas. They're basically black-eyed peas, and I'm canning them according to the Ball Blue book. This variety is top pick pink eye purple hull peas. Try saying that fast 3 times. They're very easy to grow. They're very prolific. It only takes about 60 days to reach full maturity, and when they're ready, they turn purple, so they're easy to see and takes all the guesswork out of picking. Of course, I have a gadget to shell these things. In fact, I have 4 or 5 different gadgets that'll do the job. But this one is probably the one that's most widely available to all of you. It's a Mr. P pea sheller, and it does a great job. You can hook a mixer or a drill to the little shaft on the left and make it automatic if you like. So after I shelled the peas, I sorted through, picked out the bad ones, washed them, put them in a pot, and covered them with water. Now, you can raw pack these peas if you like. Just put the raw peas in the jar and add hot water and can them that way. I prefer the hot pack method, and this is why. Because as the peas heat up, all this scum rises, and I don't want that happening inside my jars. I boil these peas for 3 minutes and I skim off that scum, and then I'm ready to can. I had my jars heating up, and since I'm canning a lot today, I'm using my turkey roaster to heat the jars. I have a bacon rack that the corners have been trimmed off of to use as a rack in the bottom of the roaster, and I just set the jars in there and fill them with water, and the roaster will hold about 15 pints at one time. This frees up a burner on my stove so that I can run 2 canners at a time. Now I'm ready to can. I take a hot jar and I fill it with the peas. Since peas tend to expand after they are processed, I only fill the peas up to about the shoulder of the jar. I always try to keep everything that I can covered with water because it helps prevent discoloration and drying out. It just keeps better that way. I add half a teaspoon of salt to the pint, and this is just for taste. It's not necessary to preserve the peas. Then I add the liquid that the peas cooked in to within 1 inch of the top. Then I remove any air bubbles with a non-metallic object, which in this case I use a bamboo skewer. Then I wipe the rim of the jar clean. I add a hot lid and a hot ring. According to Ball, you don't have to heat your lids or your rings anymore. However, I don't mess with success, so I'm going to keep on heating mine. Then I tighten the lid firmly, and if you're not sure of the correct tightness of your jars, Ball sells a little gadget that will tighten them to the correct tightness for you. Then I set the jar back in the turkey roaster to stay warm until I had all the jars full. Then I transferred the jars into my pressure canner, and if you keep your jars hot like this, then it will take less time to bring your canner up to pressure. Then I add hot water to my canner, and once again this reduces the time it'll take to bring the canner up to pressure. Then I process the jars according to the manufacturer's directions for my canner, and you need to do the same for yours. I process the jars at 10 pounds pressure for 40 minutes. If I was canning in quarts, it would be for 50, and if you live at high altitudes, you need to adjust your pressure to suit your altitude. Once the processing time was complete, I removed the heat and I let the canner sit for at least 30 minutes before I removed the lid. I removed the jars from the canner and set them on a towel on the counter to cool. The next day, I removed the rings, I washed the jars, I wrote purple hull peas on the top and the date that I canned them. So that's how I can purple hull peas. I hope it helps.